Ukraine's promised counteroffensive against Russia finally materialized, but the outcome was far from triumphant. Instead, it quickly descended into a major debacle, leaving Ukraine and its Western allies in disbelief. Hello and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Vedika. Let's begin with the video report. Ukraine's counteroffensive on Russian soil was finally launched after relentless prodding from Western countries. To everyone's amusement, it appeared to have faltered before it even got to the beginning. According to reports from Euractiv, Ukrainian forces advanced for the first time after a week of action on the southern front, but it was expensive and resulted in significant losses of armor supplied by the West. Early in June, Ukrainian forces triumphantly launched their lauded spring counteroffensive, sending tanks and armored vehicles to confront Russian defenses in the Zaporizhzhia and Donetsk areas. After a failed strike in Zaporizhzhia, video proof of the wreckage of German and US armored vehicles surfaced, despite Kiev's insistence on preserving complete silence for several days. Even Russian President Vladimir Putin has openly admitted that Ukraine's counteroffensive was unsuccessful, stressing the heavy losses that its forces sustained. President Zelensky is adamant about denying the failure and upholding a facade of development despite video proof showing the destruction of tanks and armored vehicles provided by the West. However, empty claims do not simply fool the world. Russian President Vladimir Putin claims that Ukraine's counteroffensive has been unsuccessful, with its army suffering major losses. Ukrainian President Zelensky has denied the counteroffensive is failing. There is movement forward, he said in his nightly video address. Mr. Putin said the Ukrainians had lost over 160 tanks while Russia had lost 54. He also suggested Ukraine's troop losses were 10 times greater than Russia's, insisting Kiev has not succeeded in any of the sectors. Roque, who has been at the vanguard pro-Ukraine reporting at the tabloid, cited military sources in Kiev to claim an advance of several kilometers into Russian-controlled territory. However, by Monday evening local time, Ukrainian military analysts were reporting heavy fighting at two of the villages supposedly liberated earlier in the day. Kiev has only deployed 5 of the 25 brigades it has prepared for the operation, according to Roque. Some 40,000 troops are still being held in reserve, he said. Even the most fervently pro-Ukrainian open-source intelligence organizations recognize that the battle on the Zaporizhzhia front has resulted in significant losses of Western-supplied armor and equipment as the Ukrainian advance is claimed. According to OSINT company Oryx, based in the Netherlands, the 47th Brigade of the Ukrainian Army has lost 7 Leopard 2 tanks and 17 Bradley infantry combat vehicles in just 5 days, without seeing any noticeable success south of Orekov. The organization has regularly come under fire for exaggerating its projections of Russian losses while understating those of Ukraine. They were cited by Roque in his video report. According to Jacob Janowski of Oryx, 15% of the 109 Bradleys that the US had sent to Ukraine were destroyed, damaged, or abandoned. Zelensky's highly anticipated counteroffensive against Russia has failed to live up to its promises, placing Ukraine in a vulnerable situation. The offensive, which was meant to demonstrate Ukraine's fortitude and tenacity, has instead shown their military's flaws and shortcomings. It is evident that Ukraine's counteroffensive has ended in a humiliating disaster, raising concerns about the efficacy of Western support and the actual level of military readiness in Ukraine, as evidenced by the wreckage of German and US military hardware. The era has highlighted the obvious discrepancy between rhetoric and ability.